Hey guys, welcome back. It is your favorite Gimp of the Limp, and I'm here with one that I hate that I have to make, but I gotta get the word out there because I don't want others getting hurt by the same crap that's hitting so many thousands right now or having to deal with it. We've got another issue where it's Kickstarter type crap. The company's messed up. They aren't taking care of their backers. They haven't handled their funds correctly. There's a whole lot of issues going down with it. And basically, yeah, you need to know what's up so you can avoid it. It's very similar to the Mythic situation. All right, so long story short, it didn't really start as a scam. They didn't really start going down the path that Mythic did, where they're juggling one plate to pay for another and all this other crap. But they're definitely there now. So this is just going to be the highlights. This is boom, 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 the tips of what's going on. The King of Average has a real good channel, and he did a hour-long video. He has a little more access to some more information, some forums and discords and stuff that I don't have access to. So if you want to see the full story, the messages that were sent, the stuff that was said, a lot of that crap, by all means go check out his video because he gets real deep into it. I'm just going to touch the tops of it, all right, the peaks, and let you know what happened. All right, so I started being more careful, much more careful about what Kickstarters I was backing because inflation and no money and same thing as everyone else. But I'd seen this company here, Broken Anvil Miniatures, and it turns out there's actually two companies. There's Broken Anvil, and then there's these guys, Level 52. And you would think that they're two different ones, but they're not. They're actually really the same company. I think some companies will do this. Some people will do this to try to hide what's really going on. So Broken Anvil Miniatures, BAM, is owned and run by the exact same people that are running Level 52. So for all intents and purposes, Level 52 and BAM are the exact same company. Okay. So Broken Anvil started doing STLs. And if you don't know, STL is a 3D printing file, right? It's the resin files. So for resin miniature printers and minis, those things, all right? The digital file that you would use to download to make the mini yourself. That's great. I've had a great time with those. I've made plenty myself. And the minis that you can make now are damn near production quality, depending on your printer and the resin you use and stuff like that. You can buy stuff that is as good, if not better, especially when it comes to detail, than what you can get at the stores. So them being involved in selling the digital files, that was fine. Nobody had a problem with that. They started getting into the Kickstarter fad, though, and they did this one, the Dungeon Delvers thing, where they had a bunch of miniature sets that they were selling. And it looks like they started it, and then they canceled it, and they started again. And it looks like they actually did print this one out. I do believe they were successful here. Yep. 130,000 of a 10,000 goal. 1,500 backers. And of course, oh yeah, look, funded in 2 hours. Nobody's getting any of this crap. Nobody's getting any of this crap. Single warband, $60, probably $120. Yeah. Complete resin pack, $200. Yeah, it's ridiculous. I first started seeing them with Rivenstone. And Rivenstone is definitely an interesting looking game. And I was very tempted at first because these minis looked really good. And I was like, oh, I want it, but I don't know. Maybe. And I saw some videos that they had done, some promotional videos, some really good looking stuff. And then I was like, you know what? I've got better stuff I can spend my money on, kids, all that other crap. So I ended up not doing it. I'm very glad I did not do that because they had 1,400 backers and made almost 250,000, all right, of 100,000 goal. So they made buttloads of money here. But this is when they started doing the crap that so many others have done, like Mythic did, that oh, we're big boys in the industry now. We've got our big boy pants. He actually says the words adult money in one of his posts. Like I said, go watch King of Average. The guy really gets in deep to a lot of the stuff that was going back and forth. But with this large influx of money, they get this idea in their head that they can do whatever they want. They're good. We're going to hire a bunch of people. We're going to spend money left, right, and center. And they couldn't do that. They essentially spent, or he, Chris, the guy that is the CEO of Broken Anvil and Level 52, basically spent up in personal spending all this money. So it was either spent in the salary of all the new employees that they hired on to do the work for them, or his personal spending on video games, food, eating out, wanting to buy a car, all this other crap. I think he effed up the fact that everything that you get from the Kickstarter is not profit. All of it is not profit, right? A lot of it goes towards production costs. You get to keep what's left over after all expenses are paid. When you get that Kickstarter check, you don't just have that. That's not yours. That has been spent. You've spent that money already on a promise to your backers to give them X, Y, and Z. Well, he didn't do that. He did not pay for the production for this. Now, as far as I understand from all of the updates that they have done, because he's put a bunch of updates, and we're going to look at one of them. Let's see, where is it? Yeah. Progress update over here. He's got one of them, and it's for the paint that I really want to get into, because that's the biggest mistake that they made here, or he made. This Broken Anvil Studio paint, because that's something that people will back. Your miniature gamers, they'll always back paint, they'll always back brushes, because they always need those two things. I think, in my personal opinion, he created this Kickstarter never with the intent of delivering it, but with the intent of paying for these previous Kickstarters. Because it's just like what happened with Mythic, where they spent their money from the Kickstarters that they had done. So they started doing more and more Kickstarters to have those future Kickstarters paying for the previous Kickstarter. So you have A that needs to be paid for, so you fund B, and you use B to pay for A, and then you fund C to pay for B. And the problem is evidently he had it in his mind that he could do like this paint Kickstarter, and the paint Kickstarter would not only pay for itself, but it would pay for everything before it. It didn't. It didn't come anywhere close. So now not only does he not have the money for the paint Kickstarter, but he doesn't have enough for the previous stuff that he's already got going on. Now, here's the thing. Okay. So looking here at the paint Kickstarter, you see it's still got late pledge open. Same with Rivenstone. You can still pre-order this. They are still taking money from people knowing that they're not going to be able to deliver this. This is the update that he just put out for, this came out on August 25th for the paint. And this is where he's wanting to address a lot of the issues that are going on, because one of his former employees went public and started calling him out for all the bad practices he had done, where he had spent the money from the Kickstarters, and now he did a Kickstarter knowing that he wasn't going to be able to create it, and that they were going to do some business merger. Some company was going to come in and buy them up for nothing, on the promise that they would get basically all their IP and knowledge and all these things that they had created, that company that was buying them, but they would have to ensure that all the Kickstarter stuff was covered. And then here's the breakdown of how the merger fell apart. I think, honestly, what happened is either he's lying about the merger or they really saw the books and they saw how bad it was. And it wasn't just that, inflation and COVID and all this other stuff had caused them to hit some snags in the road that were beyond their sight. They probably saw personal spending, personal spending, personal spending, overspending here, hiring on 10 new employees to do the work that they should have been doing to begin with. And the whatever company was buying them, because I still don't know. I haven't seen the name of what company was supposed to be buying them in anything yet. But the company who was going to buy them was like, nope, we're done. And they back out. Supposedly they back out at the last minute. And here he's saying that they were offering it for $0 in exchange for the support to complete our projects and keep our team. Why? Anyone with talent, anyone he hired, is going to be able to transfer themselves to a better company easily. The only ones, the ones they really need to shed are him and the others that were part of the scam that he pulled, trying to keep this quiet, because he didn't go public with everything that was going on, all these announcements, until after he had been called out, until a former employee calls him out. But this was stuff he knew when he launched this. So all of this was already going on. All of the problems with Rivenstone and all the other projects was already going on when he launched this. But he launched it anyway, knowing that there was a very large likelihood that these 1,000 people would never see anything for their money. And if they do, it's going to be a long time from it. Where does he say? All right, so he talks about how the merger closed days. It fell apart days beforehand, and his position was eliminated, and it left us adrift. I don't blame them. I wouldn't buy your company. Why? Even for $0, it's not worth anything. You are worth less than nothing right now because you spent all of your assets, all of your liquidity. You spent it recklessly, and now you have some IPs that, in the grand scheme of things, aren't really worth anything because Rivenstone, while it looks cool, isn't really that big of a deal. This is not 40K. Right? This is not a game that the name of it is worth something. The name brand Paint, it's not worth anything. All right, you're not Reaper, you're not Army Painter, you're not Citadel. So really their assets aren't amounting to much of anything except for some talent. There is talent behind them, but those people pretty much have already got and ran anyway, with one of the employees telling him to go F himself. So basically in this update, where he's talking about it here, what he's essentially saying is that he is going to focus on Rivenstone and regroup. And that the Paint will be pushed into the beginning of 2024 or the end of 2024. They're not going to see Paint in 2020. That's not going to happen. I damn near bet my life that none of those backers are going to be seeing Paint in 2024. It is not in the cards. They just don't have the money. They have nothing. They have no assets. So what are they going to do to produce this? He's talking about how he doesn't have bottles to put the paints in. Some paint has been produced, but no bottles. Well, if you don't have bottles, what are you putting the paint in? Nothing's been produced. These people aren't getting anything. And this is not even counting the fact that evidently these projects were refunded early on. And then they were doing refunds there. The start of this, he was forcing refunds upon people when all this started to leak, trying to shut down the Barbra Streisand effect, trying to shut down the information. But now that's over. People were linking to the post that was up by the former employee telling everyone what had happened. And he was forcing refunds upon people to prevent them from doing that. But they're definitely not doing that anymore, because some people were like, oh, I'll link to that thread so I can get my refund forced upon me. Yeah, there's nothing there. There is no refund for you to get because they had nothing. But for him to have the gall to say, my team and I are not going anywhere, not as long as we have the chance to push these projects over the finish line, we just won't be able to deliver on the timeline we had estimated when we had promised resources to plan around all of our teammates to help, or all of our teammates to help. We are just grateful that there's still some life left in this team despite the hits that we've taken. The hits that we've taken are simply bad business choices. When you are producing a product and you're paid up front for the production of said product, you use that money to pay for the production of said product. It's just that simple. It's literally that simple. So here's where we need to go. I am at the point now where this has happened so many times, and so many companies are out there doing this crap where they start launching new project after new project after new project to pay for previous projects, that I think Kickstarter should absolutely put a limit in the amount of open projects that you're allowed to have. You can run as many projects as you want, right? But once you have collected funds from someone, you can only have 3 or something to that effect. Like, you can only have 3 outstanding projects. And once you are at that point, no more. You're not launching any more projects to keep the plate spinning, right? To use the analogy that King of Average talked about. You can no longer keep creating new to pay for old, robbing Peter to pay Paul. These companies shouldn't be doing this crap. They're taking advantage of people by pulling crap like this. This especially because he knew, he had all that foreknowledge that he did not tell anyone, he was not upfront with people that Rivenstone was not going to be paid for, that they didn't have the money for it, that they did not have the money for many of their projects, that they had refunded other projects. All right. All that information was out there, that they supposedly were being bought by another company to ensure completion of what was already started. Didn't say any of that. Just said, hey, we got some really cool paints. You should buy them. 1,000 people jumped onto it. I remember when this launched, I eyeballed it. And I've got enough paint. Screw it. No, not going to do it. I'll try to get paint later on sale because it's just not worth it. And I don't know these people, and I'm less likely to take that risk. But people like him doing crap like this is going to destroy the chances for others, because too many times now people are doing this crap. And now when the next person who is doing a legitimate Kickstarter, who's trying to legitimately make a game or a product or whatever it is, they're not going to have any faith from the community because of people like this doing this crap. And we're going to end up back where we were before Kickstarter and GameFound and all the others, where the only companies that are trusted are the big, huge brand name companies. And that's all we'll be getting is that churned out mass, media project type crap, So anyway, unfortunately, if you've backed any of these projects, more than likely, you're not going to get anything. There's just no assets. And with them pretty much unable to launch any new projects, now if they launch anything, they're immediately going to get hit with massive comments of people calling them out saying, hey, where's our previous blah, 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 blah. Just like Mythic's at now. Mythic has now hit the point where they've crashed and they can't keep launching new IPs to pay for previous IPs. Now, Broken Anvil's in the same point. They pissed off too many people and the system's going to crash into itself. And everyone now is just going to be left with nothing. He spent it all. There's nothing left. He can come out and grovel, but At this point, this previous stuff, we can say, Kickstarter, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Misappropriated funds. Okay. The paint one, though. The paint one, to me, stinks of deliberate fraud. That one stinks of, I know I'm not going to be able to do this. This is, to me, no different than a contractor coming into your home, placing a bid to redo your bathroom, redo your kitchen, put on a new roof, whatever. Knowing that he doesn't have the personnel, nor the equipment, nor the materials to do the job, but he's going to take half down or whatever up front, or all of it down in this case, up front, with the intention of never delivering your renovation. That is what this paint Kickstarter stinks of to me. He made a deliberate choice to mess these people up. And that to me is criminal. This over here, these others, that can be negligent, right? Stupidity. But here, that's deliberate. There's intent. And in my mind, criminality to how he handled this situation. And I really don't think he should be allowed to walk free from the amount of people he screwed over here. Wherever he's at, he should be held to account for that. If we actually had a few of these guys who started getting charged for fraud, for running Kickstarters like this, with the foreknowledge that very likely the Kickstarter would not deliver, and they face some type of consequence, this stuff will stop. These guys will know better than to pull this crap to come back later on, given the current business state. I'm so sorry, but it happened badly for us, guys. Oh, shucks. Maybe next time. No, next time needs to be this time, and he needs to pay for what he did, because these backers, these Kickstarter people deserve a lot better than what has happened to him here. I mean, you can see the comments right here. First comment. The use of this Kickstarter's funds for other purposes is just plain stealing. I don't think Kickstarter will agree with you that this is a good practice or agrees with their terms of service, and you plainly stated above that the funds are no longer available, which means you use them for some unrelated project or even for yourself, which is exactly what he did. I would like to cancel my pledge. I would like a refund for this and for the backer kit. I really want to believe that you still intend, but now I just want my hard-earned money that you supposedly spent on DoorDash or video games you'll never play. And now I want a refund. Refund now. I want a refund now. Please give me a refund on my order. You have misrepresented this project at best and committed fraud at worst. Exactly what I said. Exactly what I said. You have misappropriated funds, which is against Kickstarter's terms of service, as well as lied about the state of the production. I was ready to take on the risk of Kickstarter projects, but this is just plain fraud, which is exactly what it is. I am formally requesting a refund. You have lied to us and stolen our money. This does not fall under the Kickstarter buyer beware clause. You have left a paper trail a mile long that proves you have lied repeatedly about the status of BAM, that's Broken Anvil Miniatures, and of this and other projects. You never had any intention of using the money from this Kickstarter to pay for the paints. And that right there is exactly where I think he's burned himself and should face charges. He says specifically in that update above that he is not using the money from this Kickstarter towards this Kickstarter in any way, shape, or form. By saying that, to me, that is just out and out fraud. Period. No ifs, ands, or buts. And it shows that he has foreknowledge that he never intended to use that money to deliver these paints. I can deal with failure. I can deal with I'm sorry, the market crashed, I messed up, I whatever, right? Business is business. Sometimes businesses fail. I could deal with it if it was an honest failure. But for this, I bought video games and food and whatever else, and a bunch of employees to try to do the work for me. And oh shucks, ran out of the money. But I'm gonna do one last Kickstarter and try to cover all of it. Oh wait, wasn't anywhere close. Well, oh well, guys. I will be contacting the Washington State Attorney General. I lived in Seattle for 25 years. My wife was an attorney there for more than 10 years and knows Bob Ferguson. I don't know who Bob Ferguson is. I will not be filling out a form on a state website. We will be contacting Mr. Ferguson directly. I suggest you get out your checkbook and start making things right with people you have defrauded. Anyone who thinks they are ever going to see any of these paints is deluding themselves. Take action, demand a refund that is rightfully yours. He's right to demand the refund, but he's never going to get it. You can't squeeze water from a rock, right? There is nothing there. I also live in Seattle. What's the best course of action to get my money back? There is nothing. You guys let me know in the comments. What happens? Let's say they do a dispute. PayPal, American Express, whoever. Let's say they do a dispute and the dispute is agreed in the buyer's favor that they should get their refund. But the account that money was in is empty. Can they draw that down to negative? Can they do that? Do they issue the refund and then go after the seller themselves? Do they say, hey, we would give you your money back, but there is no money to give you back? How do they handle that in that situation? Stuff with a chargeback or disputed charges in cases like this. But anyway, that's going to be it for this one. Just make sure that when it comes to GameFound and Kickstarter, do your due diligence. Look up the company, see if they have bad reviews, see if they have delivered consistently, see if they have a whole lot of projects still yet to be delivered. Even if they have delivered consistently, if they have too many plates out there spinning, you might want to avoid it. If they've got one game or two games that are in the process of being delivered, okay, yeah, I can see that. When you start talking about 3, 4, 5 games that are still waiting to be delivered, nope, I wouldn't take the risk because there's too big a chance this is a house of cards and it's going to be you who eats it when the house collapses. All right, that's going to be it for me. Y'all take care. I'll catch you in the next one.